We're all told the same story, right? That progress is all about getting more. More money, more choices, more, well, stuff. But what if that's not just wrong? What if that's actually a lie? Today, we're going to dive into a really provocative idea from the book Zero World Problems. It argues that our constant chase for more has hit a point of diminishing returns, and it's actually started making us miserable. So this whole explainer is about exploring a totally new way to think about a good life.
All right, so to really get our heads around this, the book kicks things off with a pretty wild comparison. We're talking about two human beings separated by something like 100,000 years of history. So first up, meet Brog. He's a Neanderthal. And for him, life is, well, it's basic. It's about survival, finding food, not getting eaten, finding a cave. Every single day is a life or death struggle. Now let's jump to 2024 and meet Brittany. She's 18. Her big stress is deciding between Yale and Amherst for college. Or, figuring out if her dad should get her the Lexus or the Audi. I mean, the contrast is just, it's completely insane when you put it side by side like that.
Okay, so on paper, this isn't even a competition, right? I mean, Brittany has everything. Clean water, amazing healthcare, luxury that Brock couldn't even imagine. His life is just a constant, brutal fight. So obviously, Brittany is way better off, right? Well, this is where things get really interesting, because this is the central question of the whole book. Who is actually the happier human? And this gets us to a really powerful paradox. The author uses a great analogy: food. Think about it. For almost all of human history, getting more food was always a good thing. But today, so many of us have access to so much food that the problem isn't starvation, it's obesity. We've gone past the optimal point. And the argument here is that we've done the exact same thing with our stuff, with materialism. We're basically suffering from a kind of modern misery of having too much of a good thing. So, how in the world did we get to this point? Let's dig into why we seem to be stuck in this loop, this addiction to more, even when it's clearly not making us any happier. The thing is, this drive for more is pretty much hardwired into us. It's in our DNA. It's what pushed us to evolve and progress. And you can see it right here on this timeline. The impulse is always the same, just the stuff changes. It went from needing a better spear, to wanting a finer chariot, to a faster car, and now what is it? The most expensive avocado toast you can find? The basic drive hasn't changed, but where it's led us has gotten kind of ridiculous. And this brings us to a really, really sharp critique of our modern consumer culture. The author basically argues that our ancient survival instinct has been completely hijacked. It's been boiled down to, and I'm quoting here, two pathetic things: brand names and bragging.
The book gives this perfect example of a town called Castle Rock. You've got these neighborhoods where everyone has expensive boats and ATVs and stuff, but they never actually use them. They just sit in the driveway for everyone to see. The author calls it a middle school for 40-year-olds. It's not about actually having fun with the boat, it's just a popularity contest. It's all for show.
And this is where the ugly reality kicks in. Because there's this huge disconnect, right? On the outside, you see the look of wealth, the fancy car, the big house, the shiny new boat. But what's the reality behind the curtain? All too often, it's crippling debt, paycheck-to-paycheck stress, and a massive toll on your mental health. People become, as the book calls them, debt slaves, all just to keep up this appearance. Okay, so this brings us to a really critical turning point in the whole argument. It's this idea that for a lot of us, especially in the developed world, we've actually arrived. We've hit a point of such material wealth that the old rules of economics just might not apply anymore. For ages, the main way we measured this stuff was GDP per capita. You've probably heard of it. It's basically all the money a country makes divided by the number of people living there. And the rule was simple: a bigger number is always better.
And I mean, just look at the massive range we're talking about here. Of course, you'd rather live in Luxembourg than South Sudan. At those extremes, yeah, GDP per capita tells you a lot about quality of life. But, and this is the key, once you get up to the higher numbers, like the US or South Korea, does a little bit more GDP really make your life that much better? Does it tell the whole story? So economists have actually tried to put a number on this, and they came up with a pretty fascinating figure.
In the US, they estimate that a single person needs about this much, around 89 grand to live comfortably. And by that, they mean you can pay your bills, you can save some money, and you still have cash left over for fun. This is it. This is supposed to be the finish line, the point of enough. And that brings us right back to the big question, doesn't it? I mean, in a world where we rent giant bouncy houses for a 5-year-old's birthday party and get upset if our car doesn't have a heated steering wheel, haven't we kind of blown past the point of need? The argument is that so many of us are already living in a post-material world. We just haven't woken up to it yet. All right, so if chasing more stuff is the wrong game, then what's the right one? What should we be aiming for instead? Well, the book lays out a whole new set of standards for what a truly good life looks like. And here they are. These are the new zero world problem standards. Instead of just chasing money, we should be chasing freedom. And that means freedom over your own time. Instead of status symbols, we chase health because that's the foundation of literally everything. We go after simplicity instead of making our lives more complicated. We value peace of mind over constant stress and anxiety. And finally, we focus on our home as a real sanctuary, not just a way to show off. This right here is the core of the whole philosophy. But okay, how do you actually do this? Let's break down that first one, freedom. The book lays out a pretty clear 3-step path. Step 1 is minimalism. You just reduce your need for money by wanting less stuff. Step 2, well, that automatically maximizes the amount of time you have for yourself because you don't have to work as much to pay for things. And the result, step 3, you break free from being a debt slave. You get your time back. You get your life back. And to really hammer this home, here's a pretty radical thought from the book. It says that as long as your basic needs are covered, you're healthy, you're not starving, you have a safe place to sleep, your actual moment-to-moment experience of being alive is the exact same as a billionaire's. Think about that. That heated steering wheel, it doesn't actually change what it feels like to be you. So, when you put all this together, it forces us to ask a huge question. What is real luxury anyway? We have to completely redefine it. And the answer, according to this philosophy, completely flips our definition of wealth on its head. See, the goal isn't to own everything. The goal is to need nothing. The richest person isn't the one who can buy everything in the store. It's the person who can walk through that store and want nothing at all. That's real wealth. Freedom from want. And really, that's the final question this whole idea leaves us with. It's a challenge, right? It forces you to ask yourself, what if we've all been chasing the wrong thing? What if the real ultimate luxury isn't about having more, but about wanting less?